Welcome to the $100 Million Mindset, the source for business owners who aspire to scale, grow, and reach their full potential.
Today, we are joined by Michael and James Kuzmanovsky. They are the co-founders of Alliance Climate Comfort, one of Sydney's most trusted air conditioning, heating, and electrical service providers. Today, they have built a business that is centered on integrity, innovation, and customer satisfaction, and their partnership has fueled rapid growth, making them the leaders in the HVAC Australian home residential service market. And they happen to be my very good brothers and friends. I do count them as brothers. Gentlemen, Alan and I are super excited to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Todd. We're super excited to be here.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you, Alan.
Welcome.
Thank you.
It's great
Thank
to
you,
see
Alan.
you again. The last time I saw you, you were in Houston, Texas.
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
Good time. Very good time.
Good.
Thank you
good.
for welcoming us to your shop and showing us around. It was very, very great insight.
Definitely.
Good. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. All right, guys. So what I'd like to ask is the Australian home service market, how would you describe the home services industry in Sydney?
It's a very big industry. It's a growing industry. The opportunities are endless. With only 75% of homes being air conditioned, there's great opportunities in order to build a large service company within Sydney.
Definitely.
This is a curiosity question. I know in the States here, it's very difficult to retrofit air conditioning into a home that never had air conditioning before. I mean, 99.9% of our work is replacing systems in homes that already had a system. How difficult is it to retrofit a system into a home in Sydney? Are most of them single story, 2-story? How difficult is the retrofit? And do you do any retrofit, or is it all replacement of older systems?
Good question, Alan. I would say 50% of our work is replacement and the other 50% being retrofit, which we call new installation. So with the new installation, there do come many challenges in terms of retrofitting. We're based in around the inner city, so a lot of the houses either have flat roofs, so no roof cavity,
Right.
or they're terraces, meaning one home attached to the next. So I would also say customer expectations is very, very different to a new installation, a retrofit over an existing. You could only imagine with an existing unit, when you're replacing, the customer has had a unit in the past and knows a bit about in terms of noise levels and controllers and features and benefits, whereas I guess customers' expectations to what you actually deliver can be slightly different when you're going in for a new installation.
Yeah, get it. So you had a glimpse into the home services industry in the US. I know not only did you visit Abacus, you visited some other really good companies. What do you think are the biggest cultural and operational differences between the Australian and the US markets?
I would say in-house training, whereas to all the workshops which we visited in the States, everyone was super focused on in-house training and training technicians for weeks prior to actually sending them out on the field. Whereas it's almost unheard of in Australia. Also consignment, you guys have consignment within the business, whereas that's also unheard of in Australia for the moment.
So, yeah, especially in the HVAC industry, I think in the electrical industry, home residential industry, some do consignment, but on the HVAC side, we've looked into it, we've asked about it. To get consignment, it's impossible at the moment.
Yeah.
But hopefully that changes in the years to come. So that's one takeaway that we took from Abacus, having a manufacturer set up inside Abacus. The efficiency, I think, was just amazing to see.
Yeah.
Same day installations and have technicians having resources right then and there. That was really awesome.
Yeah, well, the only piece of advice I could give you on that, the bigger you get, the bigger the hammer you have to swing, right? And suppliers will start and manufacturers will start to listen to you more. I mean, you're quite a big size already, but I think just bringing the idea to them and constantly asking them about it, eventually someone will cave and do it for you, because they're going to understand that if they want your business, it's going to be part of doing business with Alliance, I think, in the future, you know.
What size were you guys when they came in house for y'all?
So we were plumbing only when we
Right.
started with Barnett back in the day. And I'd say, so we had just moved out of our first building. We were about 5 years in. So we were probably 6 million, 6 million.
And Barnett came in
And
house.
Barnett came in, yeah.
And what size are you guys now, James?
It's, we've got about close to 80 staff at the moment, and we're doing a 20 million in revenue
Yeah.
per year. So
Yeah.
yeah,
You're
So-
pretty sizable. Yeah.
I'm curious. Have you
Yeah.
guys asked anyone about doing consignment?
we have asked in the past. We haven't asked recently, but we have definitely reached out to HVAC suppliers, and they don't do it for anyone. So it's kind of unheard of on the HVAC side. But definitely, I agree with Alan. You know, I guess the bigger that we get, definitely need to swing that hammer bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. So what lessons would you say you guys have learned from working with US-based training companies like Todd and Service Excellence?
The one takeaway, like the importance of pricing right. So having your prices dialed in to scale the business is very important. And that's one takeaway that we took while we were in the US. We need to be priced right if we're going to continue to grow and, you know, have that back end support and the right people in place to help the company grow, as well as just training, consistent training with our technicians, bringing training in-house and development. Yeah.
Management, also I add to that, management training, leadership training, which the Service Excellence has really helped us with, holding people accountable, scorecards. So these are obviously things that we've introduced within the business while working with Service Excellence, which has helped us obviously scale the business and better manage the staff.
Yeah.
Definitely. And another key takeaway that we, again, with Service Excellence that we learned and we implemented is the call by call management system. So for each technician, having managers in-house where the technicians can call them for support, and they assist them with every single call. That they're right there to kind of shadow them and guide them. So that has played a massive difference. You know, just even coming back from the States and implementing it in our business has been a big game changer for us. And the technicians love it as well. They always got someone to call and just ask a question or assist them with putting an option together or a technical question. So definitely
That's great.
call by call.
Alan, you know, when I was working with you guys in Berkey's, and you guys were still just doing plumbing, and then I went over to Berkey's and they were doing plumbing and they were doing air conditioning. I think I told you the story, but I might not have. But I walked away after seeing one of their installs, just totally blown away. The way they hung it from the ceiling, they isolated everything. Nobody in Dallas was doing installations
Right.
like that. Just totally blown away. And I thought I would never see anything that was that impressive or to that level until I saw how Michael assembles his installations. Just a whole nother level. Like what they are doing out in Sydney it's just wild. The audience wouldn't be able to see their installation guidebook, so we're not going to pull it up. But Alan, if you saw it, you'd be blown away. Like there is no exposed line anywhere. Everything gets trunked, it gets painted, everything's beautiful, everything's perfect. They're installing systems into homes that never had air conditioning, and they're building out walls to contain them, and you never know it was there. It's
Fantastic, yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
next level.
Yeah.
And if you do that sort of work, that's about that's really taking that concept of doing it the right way, not the easy way, and just really buying into that. So you guys are very, very centered on making sure that your installations are top notch, right down to the point, Alan, that it can take a 3-man crew to do one of these add-ons in a day and do it right, but they do it. So here's my question that I have for you guys. You guys have such an amazingly high standard when it comes to your culture and your installation. How are you making sure that as you are growing, that you continue to maintain those standards and your strong company culture?
Strong company culture, I guess one of our biggest or one of our first core values that we push is respect. So we really, really hammer respect across to the whole team. And care, you really, really genuinely need to care about the people and be empathetic.
Yeah.
Hold people accountable. I believe people like to be held accountable. Clear expectations for the people. For them to be able to go out there and do the work the right way rather than, I guess, if you haven't correctly communicated what's expected from the job, the finished product, that's when there can be miscommunication and the job turns out different to what it was meant to be.
Yeah. And another thing that we do with culture, like we have monthly breakfast with the team, each department. So we take the guys for breakfast. We also do a lot of barbecues in-house to kind of bring the whole company together. You know, once a month, or sometimes we throw a huge barbecue every quarter to bring the whole company together, so they can bond, communicate, catch up. Because sometimes the service technicians don't always see the installation technicians. They're here at different times. So we need to focus on how do we get everyone to communicate and kind of stay in contact. Yeah, I believe that definitely helps.
That's so great. I just, again, have a curiosity question for you. So this standard of installation that you're doing, I'm assuming that is like exclusive to Alliance. Your competitors are not doing that, right? Or are they doing a watered down version of it, or are they just simply installing it the way they want to install it?
I believe competitors are slowly starting to follow.
Yes. Yeah.
Doing it the right way, not the easy way, obviously costs a bit more in terms of labor and materials. We're very picky in terms of, obviously there's a checklist at the end of the job which the guys need to go through. They take photos, etc. We have someone back in the office checking all the photos. So if it's not done to standard, regardless of what that will cost the company, we send the guys back in our own time just to make it right for the customer. Yeah. So to answer your question, the quality of work that we push out, I don't believe there's too many people putting that sort of value into installations, but it's slowly getting there. And there is new upcomers within Sydney that are doing their absolute best to provide good service and good installations.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it certainly helps you demand a higher price when you're doing that level of work, which is great.
Yeah, exactly. To be able to charge right, obviously you need to provide that value to the customer, and that means not cut corners. Do the right thing even when nobody's watching. So we live by that statement.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
great. So great, guys.
It is.
Yeah.
Alan, these the way that Michael and James, and there's a third person that isn't on here, it's Goran. The thing that they all have in common is this sort of life philosophy that they're in it together. And I've seen so many videos of them on vacation, out there water skiing up in the mountains, and then going to Singapore, watching Circuit One. They came here to the U.S. and for them, it's like really serious. One of the moments that stood out to me that made me go, I understand what it's like to be a friend for James and Michael was a moment that I actually caused. I'll tell you what it was. They came here in the U.S. and we were at the Circuit of Americas, and at a point, it's like I was done with that. That was my first experience. It was really cool. It was also really loud, crowded, and hot. And I'm like, I could probably step away for a minute. And we're like, okay, let's do that. But then Goran wanted to stay, and Goran's like, that's okay. You guys go. And in my brain, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. James came over and said, hey, we came here together. This isn't right. We should stay together. We should leave together. And I've seen that demonstrated. Like in retrospect, I realize how that operates for them. And then I witnessed it And I'll tell you, it kind of made me go, ooh, it stung a little bit. Like, yeah, I was totally cool. The American spirit's like, yeah, Gordon can say he'll catch up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying it's the Australian spirit. Spirit. I'm saying it's the alliance spirit. Like, no. We're in this together. To the point that when they came over here, it was a massive investment. $10,000+ a ticket. They brought Goran. They came. They even brought their dad. They showed a lot of respect for their dad. I think that makes them really unique
I'd
as
agree.
business operators.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it's very cool. And I witnessed it firsthand. Like they were at the shop, Goran and their dad, and you could see how close they all were.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
So where does that come from, guys? Like where did that spirit of we're all in this together come from?
I guess James growing up, me and James growing up together. Obviously, we came here as migrants when I was 7 and James was 8, and we couldn't speak English. Myself and James, our parents had to work 2 or 3 jobs to sort of make ends meet. So me and James would always be together.
Right.
Obviously going to school, not knowing how to speak English, trying to learn how to speak English, navigate, how to get our own way to school with buses and trains at, as young as 8, 9 or 10 years old. So whatever we did it together. So we were always in it together. I would never, for example, leave or catch a bus or do anything without James, and vice versa. He'd always be there for me. So I guess that we've sort of
So cool.
instilled that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
so
instill that.
admirable and so cool, guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Probably since about 11 years old, I'd say. Or Michael would have been
Earlier.
10, even earlier. Yeah, we'd go to school, catch a school bus together, come home, parents were at work, stay up, together till 8, 9 o'clock at night while our parents were at work. And so you have to look after each other. But I also believe, our parents taught us good values, discipline, respect, just looking after each other and looking after other people as well.
Yeah.
So
where did you guys come from to Australia? Where were you from originally?
Macedonia. In
Where?
Europe.
Macedonia?
In
Yes.
Europe, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, when they were here, they came and they hung out with me and they hung out with Roy. This really occurred. Roy treated us to this massive meal. Roy H. Williams, Wizard of Ads, and Roy pulls me aside and says, because Roy and their father Bill got into this really deep conversation about Alexander the Great, and you could tell Bill was really proud of the fact that Alexander the Great is actually Macedonian, not Greek. He's Macedonian. Let you know that in a hurry.
Mhm.
So Roy pulled me aside and he goes, I bought this ring. That's a coin from Alexander the Great's time when he was alive. It was one that he had pressed across the world when he ran it, and someone had turned it into a ring. He goes, I paid a lot of money for it. He said what it was. I'm not going to say it publicly. I think that'd be disrespectful. But he goes, we're going to swing by the house. I'm going to give it to Bill.
Oh, wow.
So they didn't know why we went by the house. He ran in. He came out. I whipped out my phone, flipped it around. He gave it to Bill, and boy, he broke down. He
I
was
bet.
so touched.
I bet. Yeah.
So
He did.
touched.
That was I think you'll remember that forever, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
Todd. Yeah,
So cool. That's so cool. Yeah.
it was. It was very special.
Next question, guys. When you both committed to growing this business, it wasn't just about making money. It was about shared success. And how do you keep that commitment as strong as you scale, as you get bigger?
Good question, Alan. We focus on staying true to who we are. Like, remember where we came from. Again, kind of going back to our parents, how hard they worked to get to where we are, and obviously we want to make them proud as well. But also we want to keep learning every day and growing. That's very important to us. Whether it's Alliance, whether it's outside Alliance, we always want to do better and keep growing, bettering ourselves. And we believe, we invest in ourselves, we can reinvest, we can pass that on to our people and our family at the same time. So
That's very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool.
So on this theme of we are in it together, At some point, Michael met his partner Gabriella, pardon me, right, Gabriella, and then James met Jasmine, and Gabriella and Michael decide, hey, we're gonna have a baby. He's like, hey brother, we're having a baby, right? And then James is like, well, hey, why don't we have a baby? So then first comes Charlotte, a little bit older, and then comes Olivia, and I mean, right down to living your guys in parallel. Y'all even raised families together, and that was like an actual decision, right?
Yeah, our families are very close.
Yeah.
Obviously, our children are close, but then the partners are super, super close because they get along, which it works. It makes things a lot easier managing the business and wanting to scale the business, which I guess would require more of our time. So,
And I'm curious,
so
how
families
how
are
does that
aligned.
how does that work? You guys are raising families together, and y'all mentioned that to me. It's like it makes business easier, I- which I find fascinating because I think some people might go, it makes business hard. Raising your kids together. How have you guys found that this just makes business better?
We know each other's strengths and weaknesses, so we leverage of each other. If for whatever reason I need to be off for a day or a week, I can just pass on tasks quite easily to James. James is someone that we rely on each other a lot. We don't let each other down. We hold each other accountable. So yeah, it's very easy to have someone. It makes it a lot easier to have someone on your level that can execute. So yeah, when I need to step away from the business, or when James needs to step away from the business, in fact, it's known that hey, it will get executed. So it makes things a lot easier working with someone like your brother.
Yeah,
Good
definitely.
deal.
Sometimes it's as if we can read our own mind. Like he might have an idea. He'd come up to me and be like, "This is what I'm thinking about this." I'm like, "I just thought about it, an hour ago. I wanted to see you. I totally agree with that." So it's good to see that we're aligned, and kind of it helps us make better business or faster business decisions. And obviously, when sometimes when we don't see eye to eye, it helps us see the other person's point of view, how we can do things better. So it's very good.
Alan, I think you and I were talking about that, and I don't remember the exact question, but I think you asked me if they ever disagree.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the answer is absolutely they disagree. I've seen you guys disagree passionately, but
Yeah.
never passionately, yes, but never with anger,
Yeah.
never with content. Always just with the going back to respect. It's always respectful, but it's also passionate. And maybe that's part of the Macedonian culture. I don't think that's necessarily part of the Australian culture, but there's a certain level of respect and passion that comes across when you guys are on the same page and when you're not. But it takes like 2 or 3 minutes. And it's like, oh yeah, now they're all on the same page, and then they're moving together real quick. Like I've seen them have long discussions that are like 2 or 3 minutes, where me and you might talk for 30. Like, no,
Right.
we're done in 2, and now we're moving forward.
Right.
I think that's a skill. I like to see that in you guys.
Decision needs to be made regardless whether it's right or wrong. We're not always going to agree, but as long as we hear each other out, and we need to compromise on who makes what decisions. And going back to what I said earlier, I know James's strengths and weaknesses, so we just we have a quick
leverage.
discussion, and then one of us obviously will make that final call, and whether it's a right decision or wrong decision, regardless, it needed to be made. So, and we move forward, as you said, Todd. We like to move fast, and yeah.
So, who makes the final decision? Like, if you are passionately disagree, you're both like at opposite ends of the spectrum. Does one of you have like the final call, or do you take turns at having the final call? I mean, how do you do that?
Depends on the department what we're talking
Oh,
about.
I see.
Exactly.
I see. Okay.
Depends on the department.
Yeah.
Okay. That's very, very reasonable. That's
Yeah,
very-
you know,
But look,
when they talk about their strengths and their weaknesses, um, Michael is an operational installation guru. When it comes to the technical and the install side, it's going to be perfect. And then if we look at like what James left extremely lucrative job to start this with Michael because they're in it together. But he does things with Google that would make almost any marketer stateside just like green with envy. And I'm not sure if it's all having to do with James's skill, and maybe some of it's alliances being in there in Sydney. But I've seen their cost per acquisition. It is ridiculously good to the point that I sometimes think that one of the areas that we got to work on is upping our appreciation of the lead. They get so many leads at such a low cost per acquisition. I don't think anyone in the States can compete with what they do. It is seriously like, how do you do this, James? So they
Yeah.
both have some seriously good skill sets to them.
No, it's great, and
Thank you.
I do wonder how much of that is like one of the problems with Google here is there's just so much competition.
Yeah,
The
agree.
cost of the lead has been driven up, and maybe the competition hasn't yet become as sophisticated as Alliance when it comes to Google and how to use it.
I think that may be part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, obviously we mentioned your grand Texas tour. And I think it was October. Was it October you were in Texas? What month was it?
November.
November. Was
November.
it? Yeah. So to the best of my knowledge, you visited Abacus, Elmer's, and Milestone. What was your biggest takeaways from those trips, visits?
Operational, I would say CBC management, a dream manager for the people. Obviously, that was super people focused. All the businesses that we walked into, I believe people were their priority, their number one. So that was very, very good to see that they all aligned and they were all extremely large businesses. The in-house technical training.
Yeah.
Also in-house HR. So HR and recruitment, this might sound crazy, but I still run HR and recruitment for our business. So that's something that we've really taken away from the US and we've implemented and we're on our way to hire a internal recruiter in order to be able to further scale the business.
Yeah. And just looking at their onboarding processes for new team members coming on board, how structured they were, and obviously through recruitment, some of the insights that we've seen, how they recruit, we've definitely implemented a lot of good processes over the last 3 months that we feel like have really helped us bring on some really good talent into the business. So that's one thing we're really going to focus on, recruitment, onboarding, and training. Especially from Abacus, Alan, from yourself, just the operational structure, the warehousing, the inventory, how that worked. Obviously, the purchase ordering for the technicians, having it all caged up, and the transparent view also for the technicians when your orders are ready, when it's time to pick up.
Right.
We've actually, as soon as we got back, we restructured our warehouse dispatch department to streamline things a lot easier. And just last week, we had a meeting with our coordinators just to get feedback on how that's going and what they're seeing on the job with the technicians. We've had very good positive feedback.
That's great.
Holding them accountable, and the job's been a lot more streamlined in the mornings.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm sure it was a huge investment for you guys to travel to the States and bring 4 people and hotels and flights and all that. So would you say the outcome was worth the investment?
Definitely.
Every dollar of it.
Yeah.
Every dollar.
It was a big eye opener for us. As they say, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So the picture's so clear right now. We know exactly what to do to get to that goal that we need to.
It's
That's
almost
great.
massive reinforcement in order that, hey, it's possible, people are doing it. We can grow to that $100 million revenue business.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, I've seen some things in Abacus that I definitely can't unsee, and I don't want to ever see them again. But you know how it goes. What you've my next question was about applying those lessons back in Sydney, which you've already answered. So, What do you see as the future of the home services industry in Australia? Do you see it becoming more, I hate to use the word Americanized, but do you see the companies in Australia getting more and more sophisticated to the level of some of the, better ran American companies? Is that kind of the trend? I mean, I know I think you were the third or fourth Australian group to visit our shop. And they've all impressed me, and they're all very hungry for knowledge, and so I'm just curious if you see it becoming more like the American service model.
Definitely. I believe with all the new upcoming business owners, it's happening more and more where a lot of these new companies are on the flat rate pricing. Obviously, multiple options, similar to how you guys are running. There's more and more companies streamlining and sticking in their lane, meaning purely residential or purely just commercial. So, yeah, to answer your question, I would say slowly the Australians are getting some tractions and starting to follow, obviously, you guys, the leaders of the home service industry.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that as well. There's a lot of opportunity, especially for the HVAC industry to evolve, and a lot of the current and new companies coming into the industry to deliver good service and value. Where we're not just competing on price, but as soon as we start to adopt these good systems and principles, we're competing on service, customer service, quality, and value. So it'll be really interesting to see over the next few years.
But we're changing all the time, so feel free to come back anytime you want and take a look. So
Thank you.
go ahead, Todd.
Thank you, Alan.
So, Michael, you're the older brother. How old are you, though?
I'm 37.
37.
I'm the younger brother.
Oh, you're the younger brother? I had that backwards.
Apologize. Yeah.
So James, are you 30? Are you 38 then, James?
Correct.
Because you guys are just a few months apart, right?
Yeah.
Got it.
14.
Yeah.
Got it. So you're under 40 years of age. Alliance is in its 10th year. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. So, and you guys are at 20, and now you're really at the place where scaling is starting to happen. I think you told me last week you just added 14 people. Is that correct?
Over the last, between December and in the end of January, I believe we added about 14 to 17. I think it could be about 17 staff members. Yeah.
You guys are growing tremendously. You're already one of the largest HVC companies, maybe the largest, based off some feedback that we got in Australia. Yet you have a very strong desire to get to 100 million. What's fueling that ambition?
I would say the vision. The vision is so clear where we're almost obsessed with the vision. And then coming to the US, doing the trip to the US and visiting multiple shops, that, as I said earlier, it's reinforcement that, hey, Michael, James, it is possible, that there's people doing it out there. There's no great secret. And obviously with growth comes change, personal development, where we can apply that, to either better our people, better run our families, just ambition to just keep growing. The business is in our backyard, so why not? As long as we have strong systems, why not grow the business?
Yeah, create more opportunities for everyone within the business. But most of all, we've learned so much growing the business in every stage. Getting it to 100, getting it to 500, getting it to 1 million, 10 million. Every stage we've had to change as people, and when we change as people, we grow. We can help our people in different ways at the same time as well, and our family. So we both believe it. We were just talking about it last night. That next stage that we want to get to, the 50 and then 100, we know we need to personally change and invest in ourselves to get to that 50, and then from that to 100, what people do we need to become? So it pushes us to dig deep, get good mentors, get good coaches such as yourself, Todd, in our life to help us achieve those results.
So guys, what do you see as the biggest challenge in reaching 100 million?
I would say staff and training, finding good talent. In order to be a HVAC technician in Sydney or in most states in Australia, you need a 4-year course, so 3 years at college and 1 year on the job.
Yeah.
Finding good talent, training that good talent, talent retention. But I guess that comes with, we need to have a vision for the people. We need to be able to elevate the people in order to be able to have the people stay with us for years and years.
Yeah.
Got it.
I think
Training and development.
just to give you the benefit of my experience, I think it's very easy to fall into the trap of talking about 100 million and hoping your people are going to get excited about it. I think what you've really got to do, guys, is explain to them what's in it for them if you get to 100 million. And I don't even mean the financial piece. What I mean is, like, hey, we're currently at 20 million right now, and we have this many managers and supervisors. When we get to 50 million, we're going to need this many. When we get to 70 million, 100 million, all these opportunities are going to be created. And if it's possible, we're going to look in-house first. If we have the expertise in-house, we'll certainly. So I think you have to be careful that you get them to buy into your vision because they can see something in it for them also, right? Apart from obviously working for a very strong company if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 million. But make sure you're explaining to them that there's a career path for you here too. This can mean a lot to you personally.
Absolutely.
Couldn't agree more, Alan.
Very true.
Yeah, very true.
Very true.
So
But I believe we do a pretty good job at that. Obviously, there's always room to improve. And yeah, thank you for the advice, Alan.
Oh, you're welcome. It's free.
Thank you.
So guys, let's talk about what's not free, and it's growing your company. That's going to require resources to scale to 100 million. So my question is, how are you guys planning on financing this growth?
For the moment, it's self-financed. In the past, going back over the last, I would say 4 to 5 years, we were approached on 2 occasions by Australian private equity groups, which we passed at the time. Also, currently, we are speaking with 2 American private equity groups, which we can't disclose anything further for now. But I guess private equity is on the table. If we were to go down that path, we believe that we'd be able to achieve our goal a lot faster. We'd be able to go fast. But in the interim, where it's all self-funded, so any money that the business generates, any profits, goes straight back into the business and gets spent on systems and on people and better developing the current structure that we have.
Guys, I think it can be exciting and scary at the same time when you're putting all the profit back into growth, right? So having a partner is not a bad strategy. So I mean, I just wish you guys luck, whatever route you take. Of course, success isn't just about revenue, right? It's about building a business that makes a difference. If you could give one piece of advice to an entrepreneur starting in the home services industry, what would it be? I mean, you guys are 10 years in now. You're almost veterans, right? What would your piece of advice be?
I would say find a coach. Someone like, I'll mention again, service excellence, and learn from the professionals and yourself. Obviously, Alan, you have a lot of years and years of experience. Find yourself a coach and a mentor and save yourself years and years of mistakes by working with someone like that will, guide you through.
Yeah, definitely. They can help you open your eyes and I guess open doors to what you may have thought is impossible very fast. And as I said earlier on, once you see it, you can't unsee it. It seems so easy. One thing that we've always done is just invest in yourself. I think that's the most important thing, like investing in yourself, coaches, reading books. And if you invest in yourself, obviously you can invest back into your people with that knowledge that you create.
Become comfortable with the uncomfortable, I guess, and you really need to learn how to execute. So we've liked to go very, very fast from day one. So as I mentioned earlier on, a decision needs to be made, whether it's right or wrong. We don't sit on it for too long. So execution, I guess, is a big thing of success, behind success, I should say.
Well, I'll tell you guys, I had a coach from 2012, just a personal business coach from 2012 to 2024. And then when I stepped down from my role, I hired a coach to help me navigate the transition because I felt a bit lost for a couple of months. So I'm a big believer in that. We've used Todd in our early stages of growth as well. And, that was super valuable to us to grow the business. And I think it's important to have an outside set of eyes and ears to help you along the way because I think you guys are very fortunate that you have each other and a very solid team. But being an entrepreneur can be a very lonely spot at times. And I think, having somebody you trust like Todd that you can bounce ideas off and he's also not afraid to tell you you're being crazy if you're being crazy. I was told that once or twice myself. So, but I admire what you guys are doing. I think it's incredible. I think it's really incredible. And I have no doubt, I can see it for you just as clearly as you can see it, that you're going to get to 100 million. I absolutely believe that. I said that to Todd when you left our shop. I said, these guys are going all the way, 100%.
Yeah, I agree with you, Alan. I think I've been pretty good at seeing talent and recognizing the grit and the integrity that it takes. And they absolutely have it. So you guys are going to accomplish all of your financial goals. They're going to happen. So I want to talk about the layer beyond that. What does success mean to you beyond your financial growth?
To me, I would say, regardless of how small and how large the goal is, when you set a goal and you've achieved it, that's success to me. It could, as I mentioned, it can be as little or as big.
Yeah. To myself, Todd, just but beyond financial kind of growth, just personal development. Just keep investing in myself, being a better person, raising a good family. Looking after people as well. Obviously, with success does come responsibility as well. So what we know, what we learn, passing it on to other people, and seeing other people grow from your experience, what the experiences that you share is very rewarding. So I really like the idea of that.
Awesome. Well, guys, I want to tell you, I just appreciate you both. I'm excited to be part of the adventures of your futures. And I think it's not ungrounded to say that no matter what is in store for Alliance, Michael and James and Todd will have plans with each other until we're done. Way past Alliance. We've talked about that. Our friendship has become really pretty amazing.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So I'm looking forward to life with you guys.
Likewise.
Likewise, Todd.
Likewise.
And I'm going to be cheering you guys on from the sidelines. So you go get it.
We respect
Go
that.
get it.
We respect that, Alan.
Yeah.
Coming from you.
Yeah, we're very grateful, for your generosity as well, as Michael said earlier on at the start, like allowing us to visit your shop and sharing all that knowledge and advice. It has made a big impact in us coming back here and implementing and growing our business. So definitely.
Well, I was very grateful for the Tim Tam cookies and all the goodies you guys brought. So.
All right, guys. Thank y'all so much. We really appreciate it. And let's see you guys go hit that $100 million goal, okay?
Go get them, guys.
Thank you.
Go get them.
Thank you.
Appreciate you having us on the show, Alan and Todd. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Well done, guys. Well done. Good job.
Hey, thanks so much for watching the show this week. Head over to toddliles.com/mindset to get the show notes. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you never miss a new episode of the show. And if you enjoyed this episode, then share it. It really helps us get the word out. You've been watching the $100 Million Mindset with Alan O'Neill and Tickle Me Todd Liles.